right. We want to go into season
Take it away
3?
to season 3.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Okay.
This is one I've only seen once and I refuse to watch it again.
Okay, season 3 is my favorite season.
Okay.
And this has been a point of contention.
It has.
Mine and Elliot's discussions. So, first of all, season 3, I'm going to acknowledge something very important. It is not without its issues, okay? I'm not saying it's a perfect season, and I think that's very important for me to, like, point that out. It just has the most of what I like. So, first of all, I'm going to talk about some of the new characters. They introduce one of my favorite characters for one season and one season only, and that is Robin Buckley. So, Robin in season 3 is an awesome character. May I reiterate, Robin in season 3 is a great character. She is sarcastic. She is very smart. She's clever.
She's
funny.
Gay.
She's gay. She has a thing for classical music. No, but like Robin is a good character. Like she genuinely feels like a person that I could just meet and talk to. Like I think she's a good character. And then they also introduce another just great side character, Alexei. He's a good side character for talking all in Russian, and being in the show for not a lot of it. I just think he's a fantastic side character, and I really like him.
Give me a Slurpee, bro.
Yeah, his whole Slurpee thing. I think that his interactions with Murray are really fun. The joke that like Murray always has his little boyfriend in each of the seasons, you know. Alexei's season 3, season 2 you have the banter between him and Hopper, and then season 4. But anyway, so I really like Alexei, and then this is when Erica's introduced, or she's put more into the season.
Yeah.
And so that thing where I said that Erica, where the Duffers can introduce a character to a point that if they want to bring them into a bigger role, they can. Also enough that if they don't need to keep including them. So, I like Erica, I think. I think that she's meant
That's a good
to
way
be,
of putting it.
Yes, I think
In
she's
this
very much-
season, kind of like
yeah,
Robin.
in this season, she's very much written to be getting on your nerves and be grating. And I think it's really well acknowledged by other characters. You know, when Steve crashes out in the elevator and he's like, I don't care about Tina. I don't care about your sleepover. And he like yells at her. You can definitely tell her sass goes down a lot more from there on out. Like once crap gets real, Erica starts acting like a kid now who's getting scared. So I think Erica's great. So I'm going to go through all the other normal characters. Mike, I feel like the Duffers have to make a character sacrifice every season for someone who just like is going to just kind of be useless.
Oh, there's
Mike
a
is
few
that
this
character.
season.
Mike is that character in season 3. They kind of offer him up on a platter and just like, we don't even know what to do with him. Lucas is good because I think that you have the Lucas and Max relationship. It's just goated. It's just good. They act like two middle schoolers that like each other, but still are constantly bickering and fighting and, oh, we broke up. Oh, we're together. Oh, we broke up again. It's so good. They act like a normal middle school couple, as opposed to other couples in the show where Mike.
Whoa, that's huge!
As opposed to like Mike and 11 sometimes. This is where I feel like 11 gets some serious character development. I don't know if you guys agree with me, but in this season,
I
her
hate 11 in this season.
really, I think her breaking up with Mike is pivotal to give her something more. 11 and Max, I like that duo. I like that pairing. I feel like it gives Max a little more than, it gives 11 just a little more than just like sad girlfriend through season 2.
No, she's just like, I hate
4.
boys this season for some reason, which is
super
so
reasonable.
annoying.
She's a middle school girl. That's how middle school
Yeah.
girls act.
Is
I
it?
grew up.
And she's been
with-
abused by guys her whole life,
Elliot,
you know?
I grew up with 6 sisters. I have 6 sisters. Her and Max genuinely feels like a authentic middle school relationship where, oh, I hate boys. All boys are gross, but they still want to date them. I think it's incredibly well done.
Yeah.
Dustin,
I hate 11.
perfection. I think Dustin is perfection in the season. I'm just going to bring it
Yeah.
up. It gives me, I think, my favorite trio in the entire show. Trio moment is Dustin, Steve, and Robin. It's
Yeah.
so fun
I
to
agree.
watch those 3 interact with each other, and just the way they complement or oppose each other and the way they think it's just so good. I love the way Dustin is in that season. I think Dustin is the most mature out of the kids, and so I think it's really good to pair him with some older people. And I think him acting across from them really gets to stretch his acting chops and stuff like that. So I just think it's really well done in season 3. I think this is where a little more of, and I know Elliot might disagree with this, but I think this is where a little more of Hopper redemption is.
Oh my gosh!
Give me a second.
What?
Let me reiterate. Hey, give me a second.
This is new. I'm hearing this for the first time, and I want to die.
This is because I rewatched season 3 over the break with my family. Okay, and they were watching season 3. So you get this dynamic throughout the show of Hopper and Joyce. And they're fighting a lot in this show, okay? Do I think it's perfect? No. I do think there's a lot of bickering between them. I would think this is where there's some egregious Hopper, like, oafish moments, you know?
It's ridiculous.
3 inches.
Egregious. Yeah, but I think it shows pretty well how Hopper and Eleven aren't... How do I phrase this? Aren't a very good, like... I think they're realizing emotionally they're not very good with each other. You know, he's having a really hard time parenting her. I really like the scene. Do you guys remember the Alexi scene with the keys?
Yeah.
Do you remember that scene, Elliot? I think it gives Hopper so much legitimacy in that scene for him to give Alexi the keys and tell him to go. And then Murray and Joyce are freaking out, and Hopper literally...
Oh, this is near the end.
For shots. I think
it's like
episode 6.
Yeah.
I think it gives Hopper so much legitimacy because it shows Hopper's police training and what Hopper does and how Hopper can read these people. And he calls shot for shot what Alexi's going to do. And he forces Joyce and Murray to stay in the cabin. And then Alexi stops the car, walks back, hands Hopper the keys. And it's so good because it shows Hopper knows what he's talking about, and knows what he's doing. And which is something that I think Murray and Joyce have been trying to undermine a little bit in the season, and Hopper is trying to say, look,
and the writers,
and I'm right. And that scene does so much. And after that scene, there's a lot more just like trust put back into Hopper. So I think there's some really good Hopper moments. But I do understand your grievances with it. So, and then we've got the issue, I think I think Nancy and Jonathan are better in this season than they were in season 2. Because it gives them both a little bit of something to be working towards, you know? The idea that Nancy is really struggling in the workplace, I guess, and that she is trying to, like, assert herself workplace-wise. And this is when you see the clashing between Nancy and Jonathan in a significant way. Because Jonathan is also, like, he comes from a very poor family. He's an intern. He's trying to get to college. And it's good because you see their interests are like clashing together. And I think that when they're arguing in the car after they get fired is a great scene because it shows how this relationship can't really last. And I've thought that since season 3. I was like, there's no way Nancy and Jonathan have a sustainable relationship. They're always fighting with each other. And, you know, you have the great Karen moment. Is that not a good moment? I think that's a very good moment in season 3 is Nancy talking to Karen, talking to her mom. And her mom giving her a little bit of just, like, help there. I think that's really good. And then kind of as the last, like, character thing. There's a lot of characters in Season 3.
Yeah.
I think kind of as the last character thing, Billy.
There you go.
The peakest, crowning part of this season is Billy. Billy and Max. I don't know how to sing the praises of Billy enough in this season. He is so good. For being possessed half of the time, he is so good. You get they do not make excuses for Billy, which I think the fandom has, like, taken in the wrong way, because they're like, oh, Billy, we'll always miss you, we loved you. And I'm like, Billy was racist, guys. Billy tried to kill children. But
Billy hates kids.
Because while you may not, you learn to, I guess, empathize with Billy a little bit, or you get a little bit of pity. There's some pity for Billy, because there's a scene where Eleven's on the beach, in the little vision world and whatnot. And I don't know, I know, Elliot, you're a big fan of Billy too. Like,
I do like
season,
Billy.
yeah?
Yeah. Well, I like him
I
in
think-
season 2 as well. I think he's great in both.
Yeah. I think, and this is going to go into lore, the last bit. I think this is where Stranger Things should have ended. I vehemently think that. I
That's
think
crazy.
season 3,
I disagree.
I feel like season 3's finale is more satisfying than any of the other finales. Season 3, the way the lore is, you get the idea of the Mind Flayer in season 1, the very seeds of the idea. You get the Mind Flayer as kind of like a non-entity version in season 2. And you get the solid form and introduction of it. And then in season 3, you get the kaiju final boss. Or not really kaiju, but you get the final boss Mind Flayer. The physical form of it in Hawkins, and it could destroy it. And I think that's the arc of the show. That's like, I feel like that's a solid arc for the show. So go, this is the Mind Flayer, and then like you get that, and they have to really fight. The Mind Flayer, kills Billy. It damages 11. It causes so much damage, and there's so much done in season 3 to make me feel like that was meant to be the finale, if that makes sense, or that was meant to be almost the end of the show. Because then it wraps up with, I think the ending of season 3 is more bittersweet than the ending of season 5. I'll say that right off the bat.
Okay,
Because-
the bar is so low you can slide a piece of paper under season 5, but
True. But I think the end of season 3 is Hopper's dead, or what we assume, but the Duffer Brothers cannot kill anyone to save their lives.
It's so stupid.
They cannot. They have to kill their B name. Either it's Barb, Bob, or Billy. And Hopper does not start with B, so he is disqualified from being killed. So the ending of season 3, I think, is incredibly good. I think Hopper being dead is a good thing. I think it gives a catalyst for Joyce to finally leave Hawkins behind. What she's been talking about since season 2, and I think season 1.
good season 2.
Is that idea. I think everything introduced in season 2 is paid off pretty well in season 3. Joyce talks about leaving in season 2. She leaves at the end of season 3. And it's just like, I just feel like it's a good ending. And a solid ending, too. Nancy and Jonathan, Jonathan's going to move to California. And, I feel like their relationship is acknowledged better at the end of season 3 of kind of being that. I think Hopper's letter is peak. I think it's great. What he talks to about 11 and how he talks about it, and just, about how it's going to be rough and how life is just wildly unfair. But, I think it's so solid. I think maybe in the anthology idea, if they wanted to do more anthological type stuff with the material in season 4, it might have worked better. But yeah, it peaks in season 3. Thoughts?
I'll say. Go ahead, Regan.
Didn't
You go
mention
first.
Russia.
Yeah, I'm.
Wait, sorry. I have to mention the Russians.
You do.
Yes. The Russians. Are they a good addition to the show?
No.
Are they a bad addition to the show? I think they are a fine addition to the show that shakes it up a little bit. For better or for worse, some people hate it, some people like it. I liked it because I felt like it moved away a little bit from that season 1 aspect, season 1 and 2 aspect of being in danger of just kind of repeating itself again. I think that, I don't know, I think it's fine. I think that it plays into that 80s aesthetic of like the Russian Cold War paranoia pretty great.
I can get behind that.
They're not too egregious in season 3 of just like this thing that's so like monstrously like, I think it's fine. I think it's good. I like the it's of course with, I've already said, Steve, Dustin, Robin, and Erica figuring it out and putting it all together and stuff.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I don't think it's that bad. I know you hate it though.
The massive
What?
Russia military base that they built under a mall is cracked by 3 children.
Okay, but it's leaning into like the 80s stereotypical like.
That's not a
Russians
good
are bad.
excuse.
I
I'm not
think
even
it's
saying it's a good
fun.
excuse.
I think
It's
it's
a
fun.
knowledge.
Perfect
Okay,
excuse.
first of all,
Yeah.
First
Yeah.
of all, here we go. The idea that it's cracked by the kids. Okay. acknowledged, by the way, later on. Robin tells them how stupid they are because she points it out in season 3 where they're being interrogated. Like, how did you?
That's
they're
a
like, "How'd you
writing
find us?"
trope. That is bad when something doesn't make sense and they're like, "Hey, we acknowledged it, so it's not a problem."
1 second, and Robin's like, it's we caught your signal from the surface. I think it's reasonable they crack it because there is reason for them to think that strange things have occurred in Hawkins, Indiana. Some could say stranger things than just Russians.
Gosh.
And so I'm fine with it. I'm jiggy with it. Go right ahead. Here's the thing,
I think
too.
it's fun.
It's one of
I
well,
think it's fun.
it can be
Here,
fun, but
1
it's
second.
one of the most contrived plot elements, I think.
Okay. What?
Yes.
Come on.
To any point in the show, at this point, I think that is wildly absurd. And
Okay.
just because it's thematic or an interesting idea does not mean it's executed well.
I think it's executed fine.
Yeah.
What?
I do not
I
see
agree.
the execution of the Russians in season. I have a bigger issue with the Russians in season 4 than I do season 3.
I agree. I agree.
What? No.
Okay, so I was watching it with my parents, and they pointed out something really good, which I thought was kind of interesting. And they were watching it. And my dad's like, "Oh, I love the Russian stuff. I like it." And I was like, "Oh, why do you like it?" And he's like, "Oh, because growing up in California and around and stuff like that, like
That's
that was
not
such
what
a
I
big,
have
like,
a problem with.
No. Give me a second. He was like, "Oh, that was like such a big source of just like things is like the ideas that Russians had infiltrated the entire government and that, you know, there were Russians everywhere and hiding and stuff like that." And, you know, I think it fits in fine with the show. I think it fits in with the climate of the show. I think its execution is not too outrageous. I mean, I fail to see what's so outrageous about the execution of the Russian storyline.
I think this is one of the first instances where we get the kids making these wildly random speculations that end up being accurate. But it's not just like one, it's one
Like
after the
what?
other.
It's not even wildly random speculations. It's very logical how they get there. They hear it. Robin realizes it's Russian, so it's not too out of the realm to go find a Russian dictionary. Those exist.
So they made
She
her.
finds the Russian dictionary. She translates it. Okay. And then
I don't know how she did that.
What do you mean?
She says she's fluent in like 4 languages.
I think
besides
that's-
Russian. So.
It's goofy.
And then it shows
I
her
think it's
with
goofy.
it shows her with a Russian translation book. And so I don't think it's any more outrageous than the boys walking up to Mr. Clark and being like, "Is there a possibility that alternate dimensions exist?" And
that
Clark
is
going,
yes, that is worse. I think,
Mr.
in a
Clark, how
sense.
do we make a suppression chamber?
yeah, they do that all the time in the show. I don't think it's any worse or any better than anything else they've done in seasons 1
This
and
is
2.
one of the first instances where I genuinely felt like it was a stretch every single time.
Really?
In a sense,
'Cause
yes.
then-
But it
No,
is
'cause
80s and it's supposed to be a stretch. You know, it's
I don't
supposed to
think
be corny
I don't think
and
that
all
it's
that.
supposed to be a stretch. I still think it's pretty logical because then they follow the clues. You know, they're still putting together the mystery. They follow the dudes. They see the docking bay. They think, okay, how are we gonna get in there? Robin goes and finds the schematics for the mall and says, "All right, I think we can do this."
The security is so bad. I think another it's with a lot of things like this. How are they the ones that figure it out? Like, how did
do you mean?
nobody in this mall or anyone else figure out that there were Russians except for the ice cream
'Cause-
kids?
Because they're the main characters of the
I-
show.
They're
you
main
know?
characters,
That's
and I
that.
think this
Well,
is-
that's my
no.
issue.
They have a reason.
There are far more
It's the
intelligent
idea-
people that all have radios.
Yes, but here's the idea, and here's something that I think is very interesting, kind of about the show, and just like this idea of if Dustin and Steve specifically have a reason to follow up on weird things that happen. Okay, in season 1 and in season 2, there's enough evidence of weird crap happening around town that it piques their interest enough
I think-
to follow this thread. I
Put
think for
a pin
anyone
in that
else-
slightly because at the end of season 2 they released that tape, and I think this would and that's another kind of problem I have with season 3 is I don't think the Hawkins lab is acknowledged, and this is a problem Buffy had as well in a sense. There's so much that happens in this
All roads
town.
lead back to Buffy.
They do. There's so much that happens in this town, and I feel like the outside recognition from not only the state or the country or the world, like it's so oddly contained, but I feel like
It's reasonable it's contained. It's rural Indiana in the 80s. Do you have any idea how long it took for people to
wouldn't
hear
that
things
be like
of,
a national, because we go into
No.
season 4, example kind of from season 4 is the kids like blaming the witchcraft and whatnot on Eddie is based on a real thing. That was
Yes.
they thought
Satanic Panic.
metalheads, yeah, Satanic Panic. Those specific stories would travel across the country. But the fact that there is a hell dimension with like weird stuff going on and a tape that Nancy leaks of Dr. Owens like admitting to a lot of this stuff, I think it is very odd that there would not be
Here's-
more things going on that would lead to
here's-
the discovery
no, no,
of a
no, no,
Russian
no.
base.
No.
All
Here's-
right,
here's
guys.
the
All right,
thing.
guys. I think we're getting just a little off track with the Russian stuff. Let's
No, okay.
say
I don't know.
Elliot doesn't like the Russians. You know, Ezra likes the Russian
Everyone else
stuff.
in the world does.
No, whoa,
Okay.
no.
I don't think everybody else in the world does.
Okay,
I think there
fine.
are plenty of detractors for it as well. But
Okay.
yeah, so some people like Russian stuff, some people don't, and that's okay. I think the highlight of season 3 for me
Billy.
is I like Billy. I like that the season is kind of like a hangout season. It kind of feels like these characters are just kind of having fun in a mall, and I like those vibes. I like those
Yeah.
vibes.
I really like
Will
that.
in season 3. I feel like Will in season 3 is they acknowledge the fact that Will's entire childhood was just destroyed in season 3, and Will is stuck in a certain point in his childhood, while everyone else, unfortunately, has gotten to a point of moving on in their childhood. And I think it really creates a great dynamic. I think that's when Noah Schnapp's acting shines, is when he destroys Castle Byers.
Yeah.
When he comes to the realization that just he has no childhood. He wants to play D&D because that's what they used to do, right? Because finally Will is at a point in life where he can just live a normal life, but his life has been so marred in the last bit by the Upside Down and everything that unfortunately everyone else is moving on and he's kind of left behind.
Mhm.
So I think that's pretty good.
Yeah. I also really like how season 3 kind of expands the scope of what 11 can do in like a funny way, because like Max is like, hey, why don't you use your powers to spy on people? And they make that like little bottle game, and they're like, should we spy on Ted? And they're like, nah. And that's how they end up finding out about the mind flare, which I think is really funny. And I'll talk about it a little more when we get to season 4, but
I think we
I-
can
I-
start on season 4.
I
we
just
can?
before we go, I just want to say my biggest character issue in season 3 is Hopper. I think it's just outright rude. Well, and a lot of like the shots, like they just focus on his belly as he's like watching TV, and they're like, "Ha, he's fat and
Yeah.
he sucks now." Like this is what I think is the trough of Hopper. I think it starts
I
in season
agree.
2. It's a problem I
Yeah.
have with season 2, but it's at its worst in season 3, which is why I love season 4 because it fixes. And I do think there are good Hopper moments. I don't think they're all bad. I love the letter, as you mentioned before, and I think a lot of the conversations that he has are good, getting closer to the end of the season. But he's just, remember, I wrote this down at the beginning. Season 1, he's a serious, careful, reasonable, and understanding guy. And I think it couldn't be less so in season 3, in a sense.
I can get behind
I'm
that
just
take.
really upset
Yeah.
with Hopper.
Reasonable.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say one more thing, and I'll use this to segue into season 4. But Billy and Max specifically, I think their relationship,
Mostly Billy.
mostly Billy in season 3.
Yeah.
It's another issue with me that same with Will being possessed with the mind flare. Billy being possessed half, kind of stunts his character growth. Not completely, because I think the scene in the sauna is amazing. With
Great scene.
him screaming and Max is like really conflicted. But I do think the setup of that dynamic, Billy and Max, isn't fleshed out as well as I would have liked. Because at the
Agreed.
end of season 2, Max is like, stay away from me. And Billy's like, okay, I will. And then at the beginning of season 3, you kind of see Billy's kind of regretting the fact that he treated Max that way in season 2. but we don't really get to see the full extent of that before he's possessed by the Mind Flayer. And so we're kind of left with like the crumbs to pick up on in season 3 and then season 4.